The thing about rock and roll in the 60s and 70s, it wasn't safe. It wasn't polished. Nobody knew what was going to happen next. And that's exactly what made it magic. These photos capture that feeling, that moment before the world got predictable, when anything was possible and the music was still dangerous. Marianne Faithfull, 1967. Yes, she was with Mick, but she was a star before that. Her own records, her own audience. Then came the Redlands bust, the headlines, the myth. This is her right before everything changed. With a sound as smooth as silk, the Platters became one of the first black vocal groups to achieve massive crossover success. Their 1955 smash, The Great Pretender, was the very first so-called rock and roll record to hit #1 on the pop charts. Led Zeppelin in Leeds, 1970, on the night of a legendary show. But the real story here is John Bonham's Snoopy sweater, a gift from his son Jason. A quiet glimpse of the family man behind the mythic, thunderous drummer. Elton John, 1972. This was the year Rocket Man launched him into the stratosphere. His wild, athletic stage show, complete with his signature piano handstands, transformed him from a singer-songwriter into a full-blown glam rock superstar. Brian Jones, 1963. Before everything went sideways, he was the one running the show. Found the musicians, named the band, shaped the sound. This is Brian when the Stones were still his dream. The blues kid from Cheltenham who started it all. Sound check in an empty stadium, 1973. Steely Dan actually playing live, rare sight. Fagan and Becker hated the road. Too unpredictable, too imperfect. A couple more tours and they'd vanish into the studio for good. This is one of the last times. New York's power couple of the late 70s. Paul Simon's relationship with the beloved Gilda Radner inspired his music. He wrote a lyric about his famous daddy status being threatened, a nod to the fact that Gilda was often the bigger star. A photo that could only have happened in 1988. Paul Stanley, Billy Squier, and a pop princess meet the baddest man on the planet. At this moment, Mike Tyson wasn't just the heavyweight champ, he was the most famous celebrity in the world. The King in Khaki, 1958. Top of the world, and Uncle Sam still came calling. 2 years in the Army changed everything. The raw, dangerous Elvis went in. The movie star Elvis came out. Some fans never forgave the Army for that. The godmother of punk meets the master poet, 1975. After watching Patti Smith perform in a Greenwich Village club, Bob Dylan offered his simple but profound praise. There's two kinds of people. You work. A true passing of the torch. David Bowie, 1978. After years of flamboyant characters, this tour was stark and minimalist. Bowie wore a simple, uniform-like costume to strip away the theatrics, forcing the audience to focus on his brilliant and challenging new music from Berlin. Freddie Mercury in 1975, on the cusp of superstardom. He was in the middle of recording A Night at the Opera. This photo captures the confident, glamorous frontman just before he unleashed Bohemian Rhapsody and changed rock history forever. David Bowie during the photo shoot for Lodger, the final album of his legendary Berlin trilogy. This quiet moment is the calm before the storm, a last look at the art rocker before he would conquer the world all over again as a pop superstar. This moment was a complete accident. Elvis Presley just dropped by Sun's studio while Carl Perkins was recording. Sam Phillips knew history was being made and called the press. Johnny Cash later admitted he mostly just watched before leaving early. The Rocket Man in full flight. Elton John's famous piano handstand was a direct tribute to one of his heroes, the original wild man of rock, Jerry Lee Lewis. But Elton, in all his glitter and glam, took the move and made it legendary. Tom Petty, 1977. He looked like a new waver, but his heart was pure 60s rock and roll. This photo captures the defiant attitude of an artist already at war with the music industry, a fight he would never back down from. The Glimmer Twins, on fire during the massive Tattoo You tour of '81. But while the onstage chemistry was electric, Keith Richards later called this period World War III, due to his bitter offstage battles with Mick for control of the band. Creedence Clearwater Revival in 1968, the start of one of rock's most incredible runs. Despite 9 top 10 hits in just a few years, they famously hold the record for most singles to hit number 2 without ever reaching the top spot. Traffic in 1968, the band that famously escaped to a country cottage to write. Their communal spirit was tested and then re-energized when Dave Mason quit, then unexpectedly rejoined the band mid-album, creating a new burst of genius. UFO, 1976. Michael Schenker on that flying V. The guy was unreal. His playing basically wrote the rule book for 80s metal. But keeping him in the band? Impossible. Brilliant and unpredictable. This is him at the peak, before everything got complicated. The poet laureate of rock and roll. But on the road, Chuck Berry was famously difficult. He'd hire a new local backing band in every city and demand they know his songs perfectly, often firing them on stage if they missed a single note. This is David Jones in 1966, a year before he became Bowie. A struggling mod musician, he was already studying mime and theater. The skills he learned in this era would become the foundation for Ziggy Stardust and all the characters to come. Two of the biggest frontmen in London, 1968. This was backstage at the Stones' legendary rock and roll circus. The Who's performance that day was so powerful, Jagger allegedly shelved the film for 28 years because they had upstaged his band. George Harrison and Eric Clapton, 1969. Their friendship was so deep that George had just brought Eric in to play the iconic solo on While My Guitar Gently Weeps, an unheard-of move that proved their bond went far beyond friendly rivalry. Cat Stevens, 75. Top of the world. Every song on the radio, and you could tell, even then, something was pulling him somewhere else. 2 years later, he walked away from all of it, just gone. But this is him still here, still ours.